Thank you, Chief. And I should also note that Sherry Elliott is also with us this morning, and I understand prepared to answer any questions that may also come before the committee. Did you wish to make a statement, Ms. Elliott? Great, thank you. Chief, let me ask a question about air tankers. This was something that did not come up at the Interior Appropriations hearing, subcommittee hearing last week, but something obviously that we've been following. Over the past few years, we've seen privately owned and operated large air tankers that continue to demonstrate their ability to respond to these wildfires, and many are operating under exclusive use, multi-year, next-generation contracts from the Forest Service. They've been working with us as we work on this path towards modernization. I understand that Forest Service expects to issue a new round of exclusive use next generation 3.0 contracts for operation in 2018. So really moving this transition from legacy World War II and Korean War era piston engine aircrafts to newer turbine-powered equipment. So first question is the timing and status of the next generation 3.0 solicitation.
Madam Chair, we're moving forward with the process to start the solicitation for this next round of large air tankers. And to do it so that by the time the legacy aircraft come off, that we'll be able to replace the legacy aircraft with additional next generation aircraft. And so that's our schedule to be able to do that, so that as those legacy aircraft come off of contract, then we'll be able to bring on additional next generation.
So are you talking, do you anticipate the solicitation this year?
It'll be later this year, yes.
So I think you know that I have some concerns about Forest Service buying air tankers and just more generally a government-owned fleet. I think we recognize that there's more to operating an airplane than just owning one. Our private owners, our operators, they've got experience. They have made the investments to respond to the government specs for modern firefighting assets, and yet they ultimately end up competing with the federal government for the work. So, series of questions to you in that vein. We were told that the number for the large air tanker modernization strategy was somewhere between 18 and 28 next-gen large air tankers. Are you still looking at that many air tankers to bring online?
Yes. As we have found with the next-generation aircraft, they are actually proving to be even more effective than what we first anticipated, as we've been able to understand the capabilities of the aircraft. The pilots have gained experience. Our folks have gained more experience with these faster aircraft that can deliver much larger loads. But our strategy still holds that range between 18 and 28, with, I believe, as we continue to see the number of homes that are built in the wildland-urban interface and the conditions that we face, that will probably be closer to the 28. So for this year, we have 21 large air tankers that are available. In 18, we will have we'll have another 21 that are available, plus the planes that we can bring on with call when needed. And so that's our current strategy. And as we continue to be able to bring on additional aircraft and understand their capabilities, we'll adjust the number of planes that we need to just ensure that we can respond with adequate resources.
So, but what do you think? What do you think the message is, though, to the private owners, to the operators who have stepped up to meet the demands as you're looking for that modernized tanker, but they've made the investments, they've made the commitments, and now you're saying, well, the effort is to move away, to basically have a government-owned fleet, and in terms of what we're doing with the exclusive use fleet of air tankers, you have next generation private owned and operated that can meet that need, and yet you're effectively saying you're not going to be needed. The investments that you have made are not going to be utilized.
So the majority of our large air tankers will continue to be privately owned and privately operated. As we bring on the C-130Hs that have been provided for us over the next few years, they too will be operated and maintained by private contractors. So we're still going to need people to step up to be able to fly, operate, and maintain those aircraft.
How many of those, the HC-130s, these military converted, how many of those do you anticipate that you will have as part of your fleet?
We'll have 7 of those, but it will not be until 2021 before we have all 7 available. So over the next few years, we'll be bringing on probably 1 plane at a time. That's what we've been flying the last couple of years, but it won't be until 2021 where we have all 7. Those aircraft also have a lifespan of anywhere from about 8 to 12 years. So it's one of the things we just have to look at to be able to factor that into the overall strategy. And I really appreciate how the industry has stepped up to be able to make the investment in providing the next generation air tankers. But I also remember the year when we didn't have large air tankers because the contractor at that time chose not to meet the contract specs. And we had to go through a fire season where we did not have an air tanker fleet. Now, I don't anticipate that'll ever happen, but I think there is some benefit to have a mixed fleet where we will continue to rely by the majority of the planes, they'll be privately owned and operated, but I think there's some benefit for the government to have a few planes that are owned by the government but operated by a private company so that we just have that a little bit of insurance that we'll always have aircraft that can fly.
We'll keep on this conversation, but let me turn to Senator Cantwell.
Thank you, Madam